Hello everyone, this is Kelly with Crafting Creations Studio, and I am going to do another attempt at making a bloom. I think I mixed my white pigment a little too opaque. I guess it needed to be a little more translucent. So I mixed up 4 ounces of resin. I'm putting 3 in here. And the other ounce I've got held out for the pigment for the blooms. So I'm gonna let this drip in here and move and cover the entire bottom half of it. Okay, let that kind of move around and get where it needs to go. Sometimes I help it along. Just want to make sure all that is covered. And then I'm going to take my little tool and just go along these edges so there ain't no bubbles hanging out there. It's a little silicone tip tool, it works great. And then I'm going to torch it. I see some bubbles. Well, it looks like bubbles anyway. Okay. So I have chosen Let's Resin Midnight Blue for the center. Make my center dark. And I've got some different colored crushed crystal, and I'm gonna have to find it. I'm not exactly sure where it's at. Gotta put a lot there in the center. And then I'm gonna go around it with this aqua. Which is also Let's Resin. Then I'm gonna do turquoise. And then I'm going to do medium yellow along the edges here. Let that spread and sit. And then I've got 1 ounce, so I am going to do the Pouring Your Heart Out Bloom. And I'm going to do 3 drops. Oops. Let me stir that because that was that came out in a blob. I'm gonna check and see where it's at because I don't want to get it too. That looks good. I'm glad I stopped right there. So I'm just going to let this sit and warm up a little bit. Wipe the tip of that off. Let my ink kind of do its thing. So we're going to let this sit for a few minutes and we'll move forward. I'm going to do a little swirling pattern with the colors. So let's kind of start here in the center. Kind of blend them. That looks good. Let me check the temperature on my bloom. I'm just going to go ahead and pour it into the cup. Let that sit just a little bit longer and kind of see what this resin. I think I'm gonna keep knocking over my ink, but the lid's on it, so swirl this up somewhere. It's a little bit up there to the edge as well. Now then, I think that looks pretty. Okay, I'm gonna let it sit, let my pigment for the bloom get a little bit warmer, and then we will start making the blooms. Okay, it's good and warm. It's not hot, it's just warm, so I'm gonna mash that down, cut that tip off. Okay. This is a little bit lighter so I can actually see the blobs. To kind of get them worked out. So we don't have blobs in it this time, because I don't like blobs. I mean, sometimes they're not too bad, but you get them in there thick, then they tend to ruin the piece. Just kind of run those down. That's kind of gathered up there. little bit more right here. And hopefully we'll have us a prettier bloom than what we did the last time. I mean, the other one was pretty, but it just had the blobs in it. I didn't like all the blobs. I don't mind a couple, but I just don't want it being too much. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of let that kind of sit and work its magic. Get that there off the... Let it start blooming and see what we got going on here. I'm going to grab my heat gun. What you want to do with that, the heat gun will pop bubbles as well, but you want to kind of blow from the outside in. And that kind of gets that flowing. Turn it down just a little bit. Had it a little too high. And I'm going to swirl that center. I see a couple of things that I need to address. Floating in the resin that's not supposed to be there. Get that out. Now take my torch, pop some bubbles. I need to turn it up just a little bit. See something floating there. And I cleaned this out before I started, but sometimes you just don't see all the little specks of things that can get in there. Okay. Looks like it's blooming. So kind of let it do a little bit there, and then I will swirl that center because I had a lot of the white meat in the center. I'll just go ahead and swirl it now. And fingers crossed that this one comes out without a bunch of blobs. But it appears to be blooming nicely so far. Colors are blending well together. So hopefully at the end of it, we will have a beautiful bloom. I'm gonna let it bloom a little bit more, and then I'm gonna make my little tips and then go in from the center that way. I'll let it kind of do that for just a minute. Everybody having a good day so far? Hadn't been too shabby for me today. I've not felt good for a few days. Still battling the sniffles and all that fun stuff, but it could be worse. Alright, well, let me let this do its thing for a little bit, then we will come back on here and get the little bloom tips done and wait for this to cure. Okay, so I brought the camera in just a little bit closer. Don't know if you can see it or not. Move that one around, but I'm going to start from here and go up. Make my tip. And then on these edges here, I'm going to come in. And then I'm going to swirl the center once again. Give it a nice little swirl. And that's it. I'm just going to let this cure for a little bit and get to where it's kind of a sticky, touchy feel. And then I'm going to put a backing on it. I'm just trying to think what color I want to back it with. I'm thinking I may just back it with black. Usually a dark backing on the lighter colors makes them pop. So we'll let this cure and then we will do the backing on it and see the final product. Okay, I am ready to pour this top coat. I went ahead and I used this Let's Resin black epoxy resin pigment paste. I mixed up about 4.5 ounces of resin. And of course I put my sparkle in there, my diamond dust. I like my diamond dust. Let me turn this TV on mute. Sorry about that. Okay, so I am ready to pour this top coat. I am using Let's Resin black epoxy resin pigment paste. I mixed about 4.5 ounces of resin and put some diamond dust in it. I like my diamond dust. I like that sparkle. And it's ready to pour. So we're going to pour this on the back side of this. And fingers crossed that it bloomed beautifully. And that was just the perfect amount of resin to mix up to top this off. Get that thrown away. And put my pigment paste back over here where it goes. Give it a little spritz. Look at that diamond sparkle. Oh, I love it. And then we'll just let this get cured and then demold, and fingers crossed. Y'all cross your fingers with me that my bloom came out pretty. Okay, well, that's it for now, and I will see you guys at demold. Okay, it's time to demold. Fingers crossed. that it came out good with no blobs. Uh-oh. This mold has done this to me before. It wants to stick. Let me get my blade and see if I can get that loose. And I don't know why it does that. So I'm going to have to trim those edges. Man, it stuck bad this time. Y'all bear with me for just a minute. Let me get this broke loose. Well, no, still got one more area. Now I'm gonna have to sand around it pretty good because it's really, really bad this time. I don't know that I'll get to use this mold again. Alright, got it loose. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong on these. I'm just going to give up on these for a little bit because there's blobs again and my center moved over. So definitely, well, the center's not too bad, but there's lots of blobs, and I worked that really, really good too and didn't pour it really thick. So that's that. You can see where that mold stuck to it right there. But anyway, there it is, guys. Not perfect. I've not had a lot of luck with the blooms, and I do it by the book, but it just doesn't work in my favor a lot of the times. I did one perfect one of the calla lily and that other mold in the brown that came out beautifully. But these last two that I've done have not done too well on the blobbing stuff. That's kind of scraping off, so that's good. But anyway, there it is. It's not just god-awful ugly, but there's just too many blobs and I don't like it. So I will see you on the next one. Bye.